So this weekend, the grand finale of this year's 2020 Formula 2 season gets underway with Bahrain and Bahrain 2 Return of the Oval. The championship fight between Mick Schumacher and clutch enthusiast Callum Ilott looks like it might go right to the wire and provide a thrilling end to what has been a fantastic season of junior motorsport. But this got me thinking, just what is Formula 2, and what makes it one of the most exciting, yet equally strange, forms of single-seater motorsport in the world? And as always, I will be explaining this in a 100% serious and focused way. New fans, you know what to do at this point. Let's get into this, guys. Okay, so for those of you who aren't aware, Formula 2 is the last step on the ladder for drivers trying to get their way up to Formula 1. Many F1 icons have passed through Formula 2 and its predecessor, GP2, on their way to starting their Formula 1 careers. Such heroes and rising stars include Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, and of course, Davide Valsecchi.
Oh! What an aggressive move!
At time of recording, there are currently 11 teams on the Formula 2 grid, although unlike Formula 1 teams, they're not really worth talking about a whole lot. That's because, aside from a few operational differences, the teams are pretty much identical. This is also true for the car that each team uses, which is, for all intents and purposes, a Formula 1 car that's been put in a hydraulic press. Compared to a Formula 1 car, these cars are much slower. However, with 620 horsepower on tap, it's kind of like saying an F-16 is slower than a returning space shuttle. This, coupled with the reduced grip of some smaller tyres, means these cars are often much more difficult to drive than their Formula 1 counterparts. It stands to reason then that the second tier of motorsport attracts the best driving talent and rising stars from across the globe, pitting them against each other for a seat in Formula 1. And oh boy, do they turn up. It's of course important to remember that on the business side of things, Formula 2 works a little bit differently to how Formula 1 does. Instead of the drivers being employees of the team, being paid multi-million pound salaries, potential drivers have to pay the teams a hefty sum of money in order to have a seat. Whilst this isn't usually a problem for big rising stars who usually have the backing of lots of sponsors or a Formula 1 driver academy to help pay those fees for them, it does also mean that drivers with a few, other talents can make their way into the field. For every George Russell or Mick Schumacher, there always seems to be someone like Mark Priestley lookalike Julie Hermé-Samaya, who set Formula 2 alight this season for precisely zero reason. There's also Formula 2 veteran and chicken enthusiast Sean Gelael, who's been a mainstay on the Formula 2 grid for the last 4 seasons now, thanks to his father's KFC money. Well, that was until an incident in Spain, curbed his ambitions for a little bit. And of course, who could forget the greatest driver ever to grace any form of junior category? Okay, that's Josh's thing. I'll let him explain about it. Link in the card above. All of this isn't to say that Formula 2 is a Ferrari-style clown show, though. With all the cars being equal, it becomes less of a championship about building the best car, and more of a championship that is focused on pure driver skill. The best drivers are the ones that can work alongside their team to dial the car in just right to dominate the race. This can make the races absolutely brilliant, and can produce drives that are nothing short of legendary, like Charles Leclerc's 2017 Bahrain victory, where he overtook 14 cars in 8 laps to take victory. Formula 2 is also a very adaptable series which allows drivers with different strengths to shine. For example, say you're a driver who's not the greatest at qualifying. If you can get your car up to 8th place on the grid come the end of the race, then you'll start on reverse grid pole for the second race. Yes, that's right. Things haven't gone your way in the feature race? then Formula 2 offers a second sprint race for you to try and redeem yourself. This race usually gives out slightly less points for a win and only gives points down to 8th place, but it still gives drivers who usually would be further down the field a chance to redeem themselves and grab an unlikely victory. It also means that drivers who cruise to a lights to flag victory in the first race will have to come back through the field in the second race, meaning they have to prove and hone their racecraft if they want to acquire the maximum amount of points. In fact, from next season, Formula 2 is going to build on this format even further by adding a third race every weekend. Whilst this is mostly a cost-saving measure as a result of the coffee boy, it will no doubt be an interesting way to add a little bit of extra spice to an F2 weekend. To be fair, the only thing that seems to ruin Formula 2 at the moment is the car. Like, don't get me wrong, as I mentioned earlier, it's challenging to drive and rightly so. But since this new Dallara chassis was first introduced for the 2018 season, there have been a number of mechanical bugbears with the thing, most notably the clutch. This wonderful piece of Italian engineering was so bad when the car was first introduced that it actually became a safety problem because of how many drivers were stalling on the line. This was exemplified perfectly with the race in Abu Dhabi, where Nicholas Latifi stalled on the line and resulted in a massive crash. Thankfully, all people involved were okay in that nasty incident. However, clutch issues still plague the car to this day, especially for heel and toe pro Callum Ilott, who's found it quite difficult to get the car to work this season. However, despite this, he's still very much in the championship fight with 4 races left to go. So let's see what happens over the coming 2 weekends and see who will clinch the Formula 2 2020 crown. I mean, come on, we all know it's going to be Russian kitchen utensil and 2021 Haas Formula 1 driver Nikita Frying Pan, am I right? No, please. Please don't hurt me, Mr. Putin.
Yeah, Putin!
Thank you so much once again for watching, guys. If you did enjoy this totally serious guide to Formula 2, please let me know in the comment section down below. Also, keep an eye out for the end of this video for the little secret, I guess, NSFW? No, it's not NSFW, but you know what I mean. Little Easter egg, and comment below what you thought it was. Please remember to also give this video a like and subscribe if you want to see more totally serious content in the future, and let me know what you would like to see as the next totally serious video. Thank you once again, guys, and I shall see you in the next one, but until then, cheerio!